This week, Charlottesville, Virginia, and Shenandoah National Park. This is RV Miles.
Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around. You'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. From award-winning tow bars and base plates to a full line of weight distribution hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and now they have fifth wheel hitches too. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. Visit blueox.com for more information. Ever feel like finding the right RV part is like searching for a needle in a haystack? Enter eTrailer.com. Whether you're puzzled about which product is right for you or how to install it, eTrailer has got you covered. Their US-based customer service is available by chat or phone 7 days a week, and with expert Q&As, helpful articles, and tons of reviews and install videos, you'll tackle any RV problem with confidence. eTrailer strives to get their hands on everything they sell, and their website is full of overviews, reviews, buying guides, and tutorials. And it's not just RV parts, it's towing and vehicle accessories, camping supplies, and more. Head to the link in the description and get free shipping on orders over $99.
Welcome to episode number 373 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby, and we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, Jack, Ethan, and Henry, have been crisscrossing North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, our national parks, and a whole lot more.
This is the second of our abbreviated episodes for the month of August. We're on vacation, we're doing lots of things, so we're taking a break. For the Fresh Tank Black Tank has its own little vacation going on right now, so it won't be with us for a little bit, and these episodes are a little bit shorter, and we'll be back with full-length episodes in a couple of weeks.
Fingers crossed that they're a little bit shorter. This is only the second one, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But this week we are talking about, well, Jason's really going to be the one doing the bulk of the talking. We are discussing your trip to Charlottesville. So this is the second time that we have RV'd to this area. We were there in July of 2024 because our son attends a camp at Lighthouse Film Studios there. So he was there last year. He went back this year. The only difference is we're at a different campground this time. And Ethan, Henry, and I did not accompany you guys on this trip.
Yeah, so last year you guys joined us for the second week, and we did a lot of stuff, a lot of the traditional Charlottesville stuff, like visiting Monticello, going to some of the wineries, and if you want to check out some of those things, you can listen to that episode from last year.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to put that in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or just go over to rvmiles.com/373 and all of the links will be there.
So last year we stayed at the there's three commercial campers. Actually, there's not even state parks or public campgrounds that I know of. There are really three campgrounds in and around Charlottesville. There's the KOA that's to the south. There's a campground lots of people have recommended to us that is to the north, but it's a little bit further out of town. And then this year, I stayed at the Misty Mountain Camp Resort, which is to the west of Charlottesville, about 20 minutes out of town again. So the KOA and this Misty Mountain Camp Resort are really the closest options to get into town. And part of why I stayed at this place this time is it's very close to Shenandoah National Park. And I thought it was, a new opportunity to explore some other stuff in the area that we didn't get to do last time. We didn't go into Shenandoah last time. It's also right on the interstate, and Jack had a friend with him who drives and had a car who stayed with us. So this was an easier drive into town because it's right on the interstate, whereas that KOA was a lot of windy stuff through the woods.
Oh boy, that was, if you weren't looking out the window, leaving that KOA to get into Charlottesville,
you get a little car sick.
A little bit of car sick was happening. So we should say too that this is 900 miles from our house. So this was a pretty decent drive for you guys. And I think on a previous episode, probably 2, 3, 4 episodes back, you gave a very strong worded black tank to the highway you took
Yeah,
to get there.
I-64. And, you know, it was an interesting drive there. So we took 3 days to get there. And in hindsight, I probably would have rather done it in 2 days. It's just, for just the two of us traveling, it was just too much work to like break camp again for that third day. You know, we don't, our rig isn't very, it isn't very quick and nimble to sort of like do overnights with.
Yeah, it's not
hooked
spunky
up
like
and
the
all that.
Ibex was.
So
Like at all.
we stopped at our first stop was at a campground that was actually the same one that we stayed at last year, which is a little bit of a tight fit. But then we stayed at the West Virginia State Fairgrounds for our second night on the way out there, which was fine. It's typical fairground camping. And then on the third night, we were at Misty Mountain.
And the reason especially you were drawn to the fairgrounds was because it was $40 for the night for full hookups,
which
right?
now sounds cheap.
Right. Isn't that wild that now sounds reasonable? Like,
Yeah.
and it's a really easy, convenient, if you can't utilize something like a harvest host. I mean, that time of year, it's so hot.
Thankfully, though, it was not very full, because if it was full, I don't know how you back into these sites, because they were all straight. Any campground, any RV park that has right angle back ends, like, you know, it's not angled on a 45 or 30-degree angle, whatever it is. It's a right angle back end. I mean, I was having to pull through other sites.
Just know that Jason's going to leave a strongly worded comment on this episode of the podcast if you have a right angle campground, and rightly so, because that's bananas. Like, come on, like, you know, at least drive it yourself first and figure out why you need to not do that. So 900 miles, you guys get to Charlottesville. Really, the whole 2 weeks that you are there, for the most part, you don't see a whole lot of Jack. He's off doing his thing. So
he spent a lot of time with friends. Like I didn't, you know, he went and had dinners with them and stuff. So he
was living his best life as we wanted him to.
I maybe half the nights I had them home, you know, before 10 o'clock.
But you did have quite a lot of time at the campground.
Yeah, I did a lot of work. And it was very, very, very hot. I cannot stress enough how hot it was. So being outside a lot was not something that was really in the cards for every day. So the times I did go out and kind of explore it outdoors was either in the early morning or in the late afternoon into the early evening. I did have to, well, I guess let's talk about the campground first. So Misty Mountain it's a really nice campground. I really like their sort of offerings there. Because they have pull-throughs for people that want pull-throughs. They have this big front section where most of their pull-throughs are. And then they have up a bit of a steep hill and kind of a windy road. Might have been a little bit difficult for a rig as big as ours, but there were some big fifth wheels up there. They have sort of a kind of backwoods area where it does have sort of that more state park type feel, which was really nice. And it's just lots of different options for different people. But what was really cool about this place is they had a great big lawn with a big playground and the largest bounce pad, you know, the big inflatable bounce pads, largest one I've ever seen. And they had a structure over it to keep it shaded.
How smart is really that? Smart.
And then on this big lawn, they had a stage where they had musicians on Friday and Saturday nights play. So not only would people bring their lawn chairs down, and they had a campfire and free s'mores down there, and hang out and watch, but a lot of people who were in the surrounding area of this lawn in their campsite could just go out on their campsite and listen to whoever was playing.
Can you imagine at peak season how great outdoor theater would look there? Yeah. Or a farmer's market coming in on a Saturday morning. Gee, it's almost like
we've had that idea.
Thought about these things, and I love to see other campgrounds doing it. Yeah, you called me one night and you were walking around FaceTiming, and there was someone playing. And that I just thought that was so wonderful, because it makes you, want to stay even more at the campground. And I love outdoor music in the summertime. I just love it so much. And so I just thought that was a really cool little perk of this campground.
I did spend some time in town, down in the outdoor pedestrian mall mainly. We
Mhm.
talked about that last year. It's a nice shopping area, where there's like vintage bookstores and things like that, and there's some theaters and I went to Citizen Burger, a great burger joint, and there's some fun stuff to do down there. But I really wanted to go into Shenandoah National Park, and that was one of the main reasons I stayed at this campground. It's like a 5-10 minute drive from the Rockfish Gap entrance to Shenandoah National Park, and I have to say, unfortunately, Shenandoah was a bit of a disappointment. And that's primarily due to my misunderstanding of the geography of Shenandoah National Park. So
Sure.
Shenandoah is really long and thin. It runs along the ridge line of the mountains, essentially. And the Rockfish Gap entrance is at the southern end. Most of the more famous stuff and more popular areas of the park are on the north end of the park, more closer to Washington, D.C., right? It's 110 miles up and down that road.
It's a drive.
So, and from the Rockfish Gap entrance, for me to get to the first visitor center was, I believe, 45 to 50 miles at 35 miles an hour on a windy national park road. So
Okay.
I tried, but I did not make it that far.
But
It
you
was
did
just
still
not.
hike,
It did. Well, I did. So
I thought you said you hiked.
I did. So I took this. I took a decent amount of this drive. I probably drove about 30 miles in, and there are lots of overlooks. Some of the overlooks are a little disappointing because if you're thinking about some of like the Western national parks, or even the Great Smoky Mountains, a lot of these overlooks just overlook towns. But there are a lot of hiking trails along the ridge and along the drive. So I spent some time going up and down and looking at some of the overlooks, and some of them were really great. But then I did do one hike called the Jones Run Falls hike. And there are several places where you can go to waterfalls and stuff. And this is the one I chose, just for no reason other than this was about the right length of what I wanted to do. And I love going to see waterfalls. So the thing to understand, though, about the trails in Shenandoah, at least down here on the south end of the park, is that this road that follows the ridgeline and then all the parking areas off of it, and then it's going to be trailheads all around. All of those trails are going to go downhill, and then you're going to have to go back uphill on the way back. That's just the nature of the beast. So I took the Jones Run Falls hike, which is a section of a larger trail. And it was about 3 miles total, so a mile and a half there and back, down to a 45-foot tall waterfall. There's actually a couple waterfalls, and they were gorgeous. So it was a really easy hike in, and a bit more difficult coming back out.
What do you prefer, to hike up at the start or hike down at the start?
I definitely prefer up at the start. Now,
Yeah.
down can be hard, especially as we get older on our knees.
I prefer, so I always think back when this question has been posed to me, and I always go back to that time in Colorado back in 2020 with the Armsteads. And do you remember the hike we did that was straight down into the canyon, and then you and Rob jumped into the water and swam off? And do you remember how straight down that was? And after spending all that time in the water and playing, and I think it's like a 900 feet elevation
it also
change.
makes me think of that hike down to the brink of the lower falls at Yellowstone National Park. It's a very similar thing.
I was in way better shape in 2020 than I was when I did that in 2025.
But I hiked down here, and I saw a couple other people on the trail. But at the falls, I sat there for 45 minutes at the falls on my own. Didn't see a single other person. I played a little game of chess on my phone. I took some photos.
You had service?
Just kind of no, because it's just a free app. There was no service down there, so I was playing the computer.
Okay. I love that for you. I love that for you. And that was something that I really wanted I tried to encourage you because I know how easy it is for you to get so hyper focused on work that you forget that you're sitting in a campground. You forget that there's all these things to explore. And so I was so glad to hear that. I was just like, please go, please don't work over the weekend. You have worked all week long. Please take the weekend off. Please go and explore. And so I was really glad to hear that you went and found a waterfall. You played chess.
I wanted to get up to this Skyline Lodge and see that area. I wanted to go to Old Rag. I actually got the permit for Old Rag Mountain.
Oh, I saw that.
You hike up to it and you kind of see a big, great 360-degree view of the area. So I spent the $2 to get the permit that you have to get in advance. But that was I got that before I realized how long it would take me to do that. It would have taken me probably 3 hours to get there. And back. And it's just not something I could do. But also near this area, at the southern end of the park, is the terminus of the Blue Ridge Parkway. So I did also take a drive in on the Blue Ridge Parkway for a little bit. I actually recorded a video there, the questions video I did last on the RV Miles YouTube channel was filmed along the Blue Ridge Parkway. Not another. I mean, I didn't see anybody.
That's so cool.
On that drive, tons and tons of deer, so many deer and wildflowers. And it was really, really beautiful.
No, it was rather rainy for you guys while you were there. I know that I think for the first week, you were getting the remnants of, I don't know if it was an actual hurricane that came through and hit or if it was a tropical storm, but it came in and hit the west side of Florida and then continued its way up. And I know that you guys ended up getting that. And I think one thing, to be aware of too with this campground is your second, because you had to move once while you were there.
I did have to move once because I didn't reserve this campground when I thought I did. I thought I reserved it last fall. And apparently I never clicked the reserve button because I go to check like
2 weeks
to make sure that we have the dates correct. And lo and behold, I had no reservation. So
thank goodness they had availability 2 weeks before we needed to get there, which was nice.
I just had to site hop once.
Yeah. But they do have a creek that runs through there.
Yeah, the creek was pretty down low. Somebody did tell me that this campground is flooded before.
Yeah.
But this creek was a beautiful creek, by the way. There are lots of the campsites are along this creek, but it is down a deep ravine.
Yeah.
And it would take a lot for it to come up. We had so much rain that there was standing water on some of the roads in downtown Charlottesville.
Wow.
And I never saw the creek rise. So
more in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by Liquefied RV Toilet Tank Treatment. Eliminate black tank woes with Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment, the ultimate enzyme-based solution for RVers. Their powerful formula simplifies waste management by breaking down solid waste and toilet paper, erasing foul odors, and ensuring smooth tank dumping. Liquefied removes buildup on sensors for accurate black tank readings. It's biodegradable and safe for all septic systems, contains no formaldehyde, making it safe for pets and children, and is made in the USA. You can find Liquefied at liquefiedrv.com. Harvest Host is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,000 unique locations in North America, like breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and much more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Hosts. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthost.com to become a Harvest Host member today.
So before you guys headed home, you had to make a family pilgrimage. You want to tell us where you went to find yourself and find your family?
The wildest thing. So, my dad last year really wanted me to go try to find some sites related to our family heritage that he had heard about. And we just didn't have time last year. And I thought, well, I'll definitely make sure I do that this year. Because David Epperson, one of my ancestors, obviously, is from this area. They actually went to church with Martha Washington in this area.
Boy, you were hitting all the heavy hitters.
So
during that time, I mean, on your dad's side, you're hanging out with the Washingtons. On your mom's side, you're causing the American Revolution.
Yeah,
you just wild.
But that church was like an hour and a half away from me, so I wasn't going to make that drive. But literally 5 minutes from the campground was where David Epperson lived. It was this like 1,400 acres that was like the Epperson estate. It was actually called Epperson Mountain. It's really hard in the area to kind of decipher what is a mountain and what's not. Like it's a lot of big rolling hills and they're high, but there's this big mountain. It's no longer called Epperson Mountain, but apparently at one point it was. And there's this 1,400 acres that we were able to discern got sold to a farm, and it was a farm for decades, and then part of it was sold off and it's kind of broken up. But anyway, I got to drive back into this area where this land was, and it is just full of these gorgeous, 1700s farm properties with these stone walls that go on for miles, and giant, gorgeous pastures, big, beautiful barns. And I was able to locate the cemetery where they don't think he was buried there, but a marker was put for David Epperson there, like 100 years ago or something crazy.
Wow.
But it was behind a fence, over, I could see it from a distance, maybe 100 yards away from me. And there was like no trespassing sign. So I didn't go up to it, but I saw where it was. So it was really cool to kind of feel like this bit of family history in this area.
You didn't walk over and like try to stake your claim.
I did.
Be like, I am an Epperson.
It took me a long time.
This is my land.
To figure out this is where it was. Cause I had to go, I'm like looking on websites where there's like historic grave listings, and like there are a lot of these tiny graveyards that are on like private property, and there are websites that list these places, but getting the exact coordinates and stuff and figuring out where they are,
it's amazing.
It's very difficult. But it was 5 minutes from the campground. It was around the corner, and it was really cool to be able to sort of feel that bit of family history there.
Yeah, Jack is drawn back to that area, and he found a community there online, and maybe there's something to be said. The Eppersons were drawing you and he back to that area to snatch you up and turn you into Virginians.
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 That's one of the easy ones.
Virginians. You're not going to edit that out.
It was a great trip. I obviously, always want to do more in an area, but there's just, you have so much time, and the storms and the heat made it challenging, but it did get to enjoy what I did get to do. I do want to make a quick mention about the trip back. So on our way back, we're really gunning it back. It was 2 very long travel days.
Driving at a safe driving at a safe speed, though, we should say. Right?
And I wanted to,
not,
but I wanted to say, very close to the highway.
Yeah.
And somewhere easy. And both there and back, I really did struggle to find a great spot to stay at a couple of these, the sort of middle points of the trip. I found on the way back this place called Weary Traveler RV Park in Seymour, Indiana. And we've heard about some of these before. This is sort of a automated RV park is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this isn't like some of the automated RV parks I've heard about where the power shuts off and the sewer locks itself and stuff like that. But it had a gate that you enter a code at, right? So I booked this place $40. It is like something like 30 pull-through sites that are all sort of in a row. Really easy to get in and out of. You just pull up, you enter the code that they send you in the email, and you don't talk to a soul. You just park and you're good. And there's no frills. There's no bathhouse. There's nothing. It's just places to stay, full hookups, decent sized sites actually. And very close to the highway, easy, quick, overnight for a travel day. I think this is kind of what a lot of people had hoped like the Loves overnights would be like. but it was really great. It was really affordable, and it was quick, easy, right off the highway. And I wish there was some more of that out there in the world.
Well, there you go. That was Jason's experience to Shenandoah for this little mini episode of the RV Miles podcast. As a reminder, RV Miles will be back with full episodes in September, but for the month of August, we're just doing these little mini bursts. If you have a comment for Jason and I on anything that we talked about here and you want to come over and join us in the RV Miles Facebook group, we'd love to chat with you about this episode or any past episodes. And of course, if you're interested in becoming a Mile Marker member and supporting what we do here at RV Miles, you can get your first month free. Just go over to rvmiles.com/milemarkers to get started.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
And keep logging those RV miles.
Bye.